Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today is another exciting show. We're going to talk about growing vegetables, starting our own farm, growing our own remedies. Check that out, remedies. And more importantly, how an individual took all of this and did it by herself. I'd like to welcome to the show, I'm going to call her Green Acres, the one, the only, Amelia South. Welcome to the show, Amelia.
Thank you.
Let's get right down to it. Tell the viewers about Amelia South.
All right. I just turned 40 years old, and I have been in and out of farming for a very long time. When I was a kid, I was in VOAG. If you don't know what that is, vocational agriculture, the FFA, Future Farmers of America. I did that in high school. The interesting thing is when I was in high school, I did animal science. So I was all about the animals, and now I'm a crazy plant lady as an adult. So
Right.
I kind of did like a little bit of a 180 there. But I teach foraging classes. I teach herbalism, herbal medicine making. I talk to people about gut health. I do consultations with people. I'm an herbalist, not a doctor. So nothing I say or do is medical advice, but I do pride myself on knowing what I'm talking about, especially with herbs and natural healing. So I have a small farm in Connecticut. That's where I'm at.
Part of Connecticut.
Northeast Connecticut. They call it the Quiet Corner because it's nice and quiet. It's quiet because there's nothing here. There's like nothing to do here.
So let's go back. You know, when did what was home life like for you? You know, because I, believe it or not, I was also
FFA
in school too. But what was it like growing up in your household? Because I'm pretty sure having your own farm just didn't come out of the blue.
Well, I think over time, I've realized that I've become a lot like my maternal grandmother, because I remember being a little kid, really little kid, going to visit her, and she had like 10 different gardens and fruit trees all over the place. It's like a little mini homestead there. I think they had chickens and rabbits and things. My mom always told me, complained that, her mother used to make her help her slaughter the chickens and things like that when she was a kid, and she hated that.
The chicken's neck.
Yeah, like we're eating squirrel stew and that kind of stuff for dinner. So right. I didn't grow up like that. My mom grew up like that, but my mom raised us with gardens and things like that. So I had chickens and gardens when I was a kid. My parents were separated divorced. So it was funny because with my stepmother at the time, like when I was a kid, she had a lot of gardens too, mostly flower gardens and stuff, but she was actually really into homeopathic medicine. Mm-hmm. So I was exposed to homeopathic medicine as a child, and made to take this tincture, take that thing, whatever it was. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just took whatever I was told to take basically to get better. So I was exposed to that sort of thing at a young age. And then in high school, I got into the VOAG thing. So
where's your family actually from? Because you're sounding almost like Little House on the Prairie.
From Connecticut. We're all from Connecticut. My farm, where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
This house and this property is in the same town where I went to high school. Like I went to middle school right down the same part of this road. I didn't live here forever. I grew up in Connecticut. I moved out of Connecticut in 2006. I think it was early 2006. I moved to Washington State. Mm-hmm. So I lived in Washington State near Seattle for about 4 years. And then from there, I moved down to California for about a year in the San Francisco area. And then from there, I moved over to the Berkshires of Massachusetts, where I lived for another 4 years. And after divorcing my first husband, my second husband and I moved to the other part of Massachusetts, and then here.
Like
I did not. I didn't
House on
intend
the
to end up
Prairie.
here. Yeah, I didn't intend to end up back in my hometown, but that's just kind of what happened. So I'm making the most of it, and I turned this place into a farm. This was not a farm. This is,
What was it prior to becoming a farm? And then what made you decide to turn it into a farm?
Well, after my first husband and I decided to get divorced, I basically I couldn't figure out how to get out of the situation, like during the divorce issue, and I discovered that being an apprentice on a farm was a thing, like where you could go live on a farm and work on that farm. And I did some interviews, and I managed to find a farm that I could do the apprenticeship at. So I lived there. I got very, very lucky. The farm that I managed to find, they had like a little apartment over their garage.
Okay.
So I got to go live in their little like studio apartment. The shower was still out back behind the barn. So I was doing that, and a composting toilet and all that, but I had my own space. I didn't have to like share a house with a whole bunch of other people.
So
that was
hold down a second.
Nice.
Hold down. I can see you're excited. It's all outdoors. I love it. So you're going through some problems, marital problems.
It was straight up divorce. We had decided to get divorced. Yeah. And
you had no occupational training. So this,
I'd
open up.
I'd been in BOAG in high school, but it was based, and then I had some other random jobs. I have a bachelor's degree in English, believe it or not.
Okay.
And I'm a farmer. Okay. So that's how good that did me.
But talking about compost.
Yeah.
Bullets.
I was a stay-at-home mom for about 4.5 years, and I went from that to going and living on a farm full-time, working 60 hours a week on that farm.
What were some of the things you had to do? You're talking 60 hours in the city is 8 hours to some people. You're doing 60. What is 60 hours of work on a farm? How old were you at this time?
30.
What is it like at 30 years old doing 60 hours of work a day on a farm?
Well, thank God I was 30 because I had enough energy to do that. You get up, you start working at 7 a.m., you're done at 5 p.m. And then 1 day a week on Sundays, I think I got, so it was like 7 to 2 or something like that. And then I had Mondays off, but it was feed the chickens and then get out there. And early in the year, you're out there on the tractor planting potatoes and onions and broccoli and all that other stuff. And then, during the year, I got to learn how to drive a tractor. And I loved that. I was awesome at that tractor. And my boss was like, you know what? You picked this up real quick. You're the tractor lady for the year. So I just got to be the one that drove the tractor all over the place, which was fantastic. But being on the back of a planter, and I tell you what, I think I dropped 20 or 30 pounds within the first month I was working there.
Really?
Non-stop working.
There has to be a science to agriculture.
Oh, there's a lot. Yeah, you can get a whole degree in that. Yeah, absolutely.
Like, what were some of the things that you had to physically learn? I know you took FHA, but what were some of the things that when you literally got put in this situation, because you're getting ready to have your own farm. So let's just talk about the fact that you're working now. What are some of the things that you literally had to learn how to do? And what did you bring to the ideal of when did the idea of having your own farm set in?
I actually got the idea of having my own farm while I was working at that first apprenticeship back in 2014. Mm-hmm. So I even asked my boss, I said, what do you need to do to what's the best thing to look for in a farm or a land or whatever? And I actually, with this place, I didn't listen to anything he said. So I ruined it. But I got very lucky for whatever reason. God-given gift. I'm very good at picking this stuff up. I became really good at the plants. Like I didn't know, I had never done anything in a greenhouse before. And I was like suddenly the greenhouse manager because I got really good at recognizing the way up each and every different kind of plant looks when it's this big, when it's an inch tall. I knew which thing was what I was looking at. Right. So, I got to that point. And then the planting and the running of the tractor, the plant, there's this giant thing that that sits on the back of the tractor with these big tank of water and a wheel, and it pushes a hole in the ground. You have to put the plant in that hole, and you're riding on the back of this thing going boom, 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 boom with plant, super fast.
Yeah, we just planted 400 trees.
Nice.
Yeah. And I had to learn how to do that. And that's hard work.
It's hard work. Yeah. Especially when the boss doesn't care if you're saying slow down and he just keeps going and expects you to keep up with him. Yeah. So that's a lot of hard work. I mean, pulling stones out. I don't know if you ever know anybody in New England, but he used to say Connecticut's best crop is rocks.
I love rocks.
So everywhere.
When did Black Sun Farms come into existence? You're now mature, you're working there, you're out of a situation, you got a new occupation going. When did the farm set in for you going to buy your own piece of land and developing it?
So my second husband and I, right before we got married, we were looking for a place to move to. We were looking for a house to buy. And we found, we started looking in Connecticut because we were like, well, I'm from here. We might as well look around here. We weren't that far away. We were in Massachusetts anyway. But we started looking, we found this place, and I fell in love with this place. Honestly, it's so weird because there are two features in the backyard that are still there that basically sold the house for me. One of them is a stone fire pit, which is totally falling apart now because we used it too much. The guy built it like 70 years ago, but it's beautiful. And then there's this giant arbor with a grapevine on it that has to be 60 or 70 years old. Huge grapevine. And I get grapes out of it every year. And I love that. I love it. What
kind of grapes do you get?
They're some kind of muscadine. I'm pretty sure they're Concord grapes.
Okay, good. Wow, yeah.
Yeah, like if you're drinking a glass of Welch's grape juice, that's what my grapes smell like. It's the same kind of thing. And they're delicious. So I loved that. And there were blueberry bushes here. We ended up ripping them out because they were full of poison ivy. I got poison ivy really bad. Trying to get those blueberry bushes done. So I planted my own blueberry bushes. We basically, most of this was yard. We bought this house in 2017, early 2017. By the end of 2017, I had decided this was my farm, and I registered it as a farm property with the town. So, and then I registered it as a farm property with the state. My farm is only 1.2 acres.
How many acres is it?
1.2, the whole property. That's it.
So
it's not a big farm. It's a teeny weeny little farm.
And they allowed you to register that as a farm?
Yep.
What about the neighbors? What about the neighbors?
The rules, and I'll tell you right now, I was on the agriculture commission for the town for like 3 or 4 years, so I know all the rules now. But basically, unless your neighbors complain, you can kind of get away with whatever you want. I don't. My property's small enough. I can't have cows or pigs because of the zoning laws, and you need a certain amount of space for that. Right. I did have goats for a little while. They were horrible. I would not recommend getting goats right now, but I mostly focused on my gardens and poultry. So I had chickens, ducks, and geese for years and years. And this year, a fox just got all my chickens, killed the rest of them a couple months ago.
You ever thought about getting a hound dog?
I thought about it. Trust me, I have 1 goose and 2 ducks left right now because the fox got everybody else. So I'm just kind of, babying them for right now. I went from having a huge flock to just a couple. The egg business was not very lucrative around here. I do everything organically too. So my farm is certified naturally grown. If you look up certified naturally grown, it's basically all the same organic growing parameters as USDA organic, but without a guy in the suit from the government coming and inspecting you. We all inspect each other with the same organic parameters.
So when you say organic perimeter, to the viewers that don't know, because the show is about education and empowerment, I'm pretty sure we live in a world now where, believe it or not, a lot of individuals are doing what you're doing. They're being
I know homesteading is in now.
Yeah. What exactly does that, without giving out the whole kit and caboodle, but what are some of the methods to doing that?
I personally try to practice regenerative agriculture, which means that if you think about growing any plant, you're growing a kale plant or something, that plant is going to take nutrients out of the soil as part of its growing process, right? So instead of just putting a bunch of fertilizer on it to give it those nutrients, every year I add more and more natural organic amendments, things like wood chips or leaves or compost or whatever I can do to add nutrients to the soil. So I'm attempting to balance the soil. So basically, I'm trying to put more into the soil than those plants are taking out of it in any given year.
It is so funny. I was with my daughter the other day. This was like 2 days ago, and all the leaves are down on the ground pretty much. Mm-hmm. And the guy was cutting some grass at the same time. And I was like, man, you know what? If they had any sense, they would take those leaves and crunch them up and make them into some type of fertilizer compost.
Yep.
And it was like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's organic material.
Of course it is. You can just compost it right there. A lot of people say leave the leaves, don't rake your leaves at all. I do I have a couple of maple trees in the yard. So what I tend to do once or twice during the season, over the next month or so, I will rake up the bulk of the leaves and I just drag them over and put them in my garden. I don't shred them. I don't do anything. I just throw them right in the garden and they decompose over the winter and they add to the soil, So you can do that. You can leave the leaves right in your yard and mow over them. I just feel like, I need them in my garden. So I'm putting them in the garden.
So it sounds like you had you're dealing with a lot of success, but were there ever any parts of your life that gave you doubt about going into this?
Oh gosh, into the farming thing? Well, most of the last 6 years have been I've worked for other farms. This has basically been my side business up until this year. This was a side business, like a part-time. I just kind of did it for fun. Sometimes I would go to the farmer's market and bring some things to the farmer's market. So I was growing my business very slowly, but it was basically, making a couple $1,000s a year and not like a real business. But this year, basically what happened was I got laid off from my farm job last year at the end of the season, which is normal because it's the end of the season. In wintertime, there's no farming really. And I could not for the life of me find a new job for like 3 months. So really? No matter what I did, nobody was hiring me. So I just said, the heck with it. And I chose this. I said, I'm going to put myself into my business. This is going to be my business. And I threw everything I had into making this actually work. And I'm finally at a point where I'm actually making enough of an income to survive and to do all right with my business. So I'm very proud of myself this year. This year was a lot of work.
I'm proud of you. You said you shared with me a little bit about your birthday when you turned 38, because a lot of people may think that this is by talking to you, you're bubbly, you're full of energy right now, but your life wasn't always about life being bubbly. A tragic thing happened. Not even tragic. An awakening happened to you on your birthday. Can you share a little bit about
definitely that? An awakening, because I used to be I was actually really close to being an alcoholic at the time, because you drink because you don't like yourself or you don't like your problems and all that stuff. I had I guess an awakening or a breakdown, however you want to call it, right after my 38th birthday. Right about my 38th birthday. And it took me a couple of weeks, about a month or so, to actually really recover from that. But I realized that my life wasn't what I thought it was. And I basically became the person that I always was.
What do you mean?
I just didn't know it.
What do you mean by that?
It means the way the person that helped me through this has a saying, and he says, the person you are becoming, you've always been. You are turning into this new person, but it's who you've always been deep down inside. And that person is finally being allowed to be let out. So I now like, love, trust, accept, respect, and protect myself totally, completely, and unconditionally at all times, under any and all circumstances and conditions.
What were you before that, though?
Didn't really like myself that much. I was very much did what I was told, buried my feelings. If I had any kind of stress, I would drink, because that's how you took care of things. If I was worried about something, or if I had any kind of deep issues that most people would want to go to therapy for, I just said, nope, nope, nope. I'm burying those down where they belong, because that's what my mother taught me to do. Yeah, it was not pleasant, and I was becoming more dictatorial, like my father was, especially with my kids and everything. And it was just, I had a realization that that's not who I was, and that's not who I wanted to be. And it led to a lot of wonderful things opening up in my life, and me just really coming into myself and who I am meant to be.
When the breakdown actually happened to you, what was the trigger of that breakdown? Usually some type of traumatic.
I thought I don't usually talk about this, so this is kind of scary, and I don't want to go into a lot of detail, but I basically thought I was possessed.
Really?
Yeah. I went through an exorcism. It's a lot to unpack that I don't have time to go into right now.
No, we'll do that on the next episode.
Yeah, but there was I ended up being okay, and I was fine, but when it was happening, it was terrifying. And there's a lot that happens in your head when you think you're possessed by demons. So it's not good.
You was able to overcome.
Yes.
And thank the universe that has happened to you.
Absolutely.
Tell me about the homeopathic. You got a lot of stuff going on. You've taken this farm, you're getting rid of the demons.
Yep.
Right now, you're living a great thing. You got your farm, you're being universal savvy by giving back. Tell me about the homeopathic remedies that you guys are now doing at the farm.
I was raised with homeopathic medicine, but I don't practice homeopathic medicine. What I do is herbal medicine, or herbalism. So it's there are certain aspects that I've learned. I tend to focus more on nutrition and getting to the root cause of people's problems. I like to explain, look, a lot of your problems start with nutrition, what you're putting into your body. And, part of that comes from my organic farming for the last 10 years. But with the herbs, this is the way I like to put it to people. Think of your body like a cake. If you picture a cake, your body, your digestive tract and everything is the cake, the actual cake that you would put in the oven and bake. That's like your digestive tract in your body. Herbs are like the icing on the cake. So the herbs aren't going to do much good at all if you don't have a real strong cake foundation to put them on.
Mm-hmm.
So herbs are like a secondary thing that help with all the external issues after you have taken care of your cake, and made sure.
You said something earlier. You said it took you a while to understand it. What was it that made you understand it? What were you doing that wasn't right? And then all of a sudden you realize this is what I should be doing as it comes to baking the cake.
Oh, well, I actually, I dealt with chronic candida for 17 years, and then I got diagnosed with rosacea, and I figured out, I found out that was all a digestive problem, a gut problem. So I took the time to learn how to heal my gut. And on top of that, that was all while I was still learning, herbal medicine and everything. So I've dabbled with herbalism and herbal medicine for 14 years now, at least. But I started really throwing myself into learning in depth in about 2018. And ever since I've done quite a few classes and learned a lot on my own. I started foraging. I started dabbling with foraging in 2006, and I've just gotten worse and worse and worse. I'm addicted to foraging. So
what is foraging for the viewers that don't know? That don't mean you're out there looking for rabbits and roadkill.
No, I don't do that. You can actually. I know some people that do that live on that. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But I focus on foraging plants and mushrooms. So I'll go out in the woods, I'll go for a hike, and I don't just go for a hike and come back. that was part of this whole awakening too, because when I started like awakening to who I really am, I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to take my time in the woods. And if I darn well want to slow down and look at things, I'm going to do that. I don't care who's with me and who's whining. So I started hiking by myself so nobody else would complain. But I go slow because I'm like, oh, look, a mushroom. And I want to look at that. And I want to identify that mushroom and I want to play with it, poke it. I want to pet the moss. I actually started hiking barefoot this year. So I'm a barefoot hiker.
Okay.
Yeah. And I look for the plants that I know are medicinally viable, that are going to help me heal myself or help me heal other people. So
Difference between herbal and remedies, in your opinion?
what do you mean? Herbal remedies? Herbal
Like, yeah, because you said you deal with
I make herbal remedies.
Homeopathic versus
Oh, okay. So
herbal.
homeopathic stuff is the best way I can explain homeopathy versus herbalism.
Right.
Herbalism is like if I take the herb, if I say take lemon balm, that's an herb. All right. I'm going to take that actual plant and either dry it and make it into a tea and drink the tea, or turn it into a tincture and then take that tincture medicinally. That's with the actual plant. If I was homeopathic medicine doing something with lemon balm, they have some way to break down the plant into some kind of essence. It's not the actual plant material you're taking. It's kind of like you're taking the ghost of the plant material and expecting that to have an effect on your body. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. I don't want to discount homeopathy in general. I'm just saying I prefer to work with the physical plant itself. I guess I'm more of a tangible person. Like,
You actually practice what you preach, basically.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I've been practicing herbal medicine on myself and my family for years. So
Amelia.
yeah, my poor son knows how to take a tincture.
Yeah, what's that contraption behind you?
That big black thing that's a hanging herb drying rack. Yeah, it's mesh. It's got layers of mesh. It's unzipped right now. I probably should have zipped it up. But that's where if I go harvest some herbs in the garden, I can stick them in that and they dry. And I know the lamp is on right now, but it's in a dark. It's out of the sunlight. You always want to dry your herbs out of direct sunlight. Don't put them out in the sun because the sun it kills all the it basically the UV light ruins the medicinal components of the herbs.
That's an interesting machine. What are some of the herbs, in your opinion, that we need pretty much to make us feel better?
Well, I mean, everybody knows about elderberry. Like most people have heard of elderberry syrup, this, that, and the other thing. I do like to work with elderflower, which is just, what elderberries are before they turn into berries. So elderflower is nice. There's a very common herb that a lot of people are getting more and more into, which is mullein. It's mullein. That's Verbascum thapsus, and the leaf of mullein. You can make that into a tea or a tincture. You can actually even smoke it, and it clears your lungs. I never in a million years would have believed that was true. Mm-hmm. I don't smoke, but I had to test it just to see if that was true, and it legit works. It's crazy. You light this on fire, you breathe in the smoke, and it clears your lungs out. It's so weird. But the tea,
milk thistle. What do you know about milk thistle?
Milk thistle's fantastic. I was taking milk thistle for a long time, especially back when I was drinking to try to help my liver.
But the liver, correct? Is that what?
Yes. Milk thistle's fantastic for the liver. I grew some this year. I didn't grow as much as I wanted to, but I have all kinds of foraging videos on my TikTok channel that you can see my milk thistle. I have a foraging online course too that I showed you my milk thistle in that. The seed is the medicinal part, the milk thistle seed. So that's fantastic. Another one that everybody should know, I feel like the one herb everybody in the whole America, United States of America should know is plantain. And that's because there's three varieties of plantain: Plantago major, Plantago lanceolata, and Plantago rugelii. And they all look almost the same. One of them is long and skinny. The other two are kind of rounder and fatter. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very, very common weed. This is plantain the herb, not plantain the banana. It is in almost every driveway or parking lot you've ever seen in your life. If I showed you a picture, you'd be like, oh, I've seen that. and it's insanely useful. It's wonderful. It's probably my favorite herb. It was the first herb that got me into herbalism. Yeah, it's the one thing I teach every time I see a kid. I teach them what plantain is. As soon as my kids could walk, they knew what plantain was. Because if you're outside, you're playing outside, doing anything, you get a bug bite, you get a bee sting or a wasp stings you. You get into well, not as much as poison ivy, but you get something
like an antibiotic almost.
Yeah, if you fall down and cut yourself or scrape yourself, whoever you are or your kid or whatever, you can grab that leaf, grab some of those leaves because they're everywhere. They grow everywhere. Just take the leaf, chew it up real quick, and stick it on the bee sting or the cut or the scrape, whatever it is, and it'll heal that. It stops the itching from your bug bites. It stops the sting from the bee sting or the wasp sting. It helps heal your cuts if you cut yourself. It's an amazing plant, and it grows absolutely everywhere. And it just kills me that more people don't know it.
Check this out. I'm gonna test your Daniel Boone skills. You've already shown you got Little House on the Prairie skills.
Mm-hmm.
About hiking, I get lost. What herbs should I be looking for to eat?
Oh, you can look for lots of. I mean, it's not just herbs. There's all kinds of fruit. It depends what time of year you get lost. If you get lost in the woods in wintertime,
yeah,
you're kind of SOL. Good luck to you.
Get out of luck.
Yeah. Rose hips are about the only thing you're going to be able to find easily that you could technically eat. But the thing is, at least in my area, there's all roses. Just FYI, any rose you ever see, those are edible. All roses are edible. The flowers it's called a rose hip because when the flowers fall off, it turns into this little round ball. That's the fruit of the rose. Those are all edible, but all of them, the inside where the seeds are, rose hip seeds are covered in tiny little hairs that will irritate your throat. So if you're lost in the woods and you see these rose hips, you're like, oh, I can eat that. You have to basically take that rose hip very carefully with your teeth, just kind of scrape the skin off the outside so that you don't eat the seeds. Because if you eat the seeds, your throat is going to be in a bad way for a long time. Yeah. But you can survive on that. You can survive on that. And if you get lost in the woods in July, there's berries everywhere. Everywhere, berries. This year was a great year for berries.
You're saying that you have classes online. Mm-hmm. How can the viewers reach out to you to get more information, to understand about the Black Sun Farms, not to be confused with, you were saying something to me about.
Oh yeah. Somebody told me there's some like cult or something, Black Sun something or other. And I was like, that's not me. No, my farm is Black Sun Farm. And I named it that because I like to grow black vegetables. I'm a goth farmer. I know I'm wearing green right now, but I'm a goth chick farmer. I like to grow the black tomatoes and the black peppers and the black carrots. I think they're cool. So that's basically the story of Black Sun Farm. It's got nothing to do with a cult or any kind of thing like that.
How can the viewers reach out to you and get more information on you, your projects, your videos, educational information? How can they reach out to you?
So there's a few things. I'm on TikTok. My name on TikTok is at The Original Meal Chan. And I know that's confusing because it has nothing to do with my farm, but it comes up as Amelia from Black Sun Farm. And that was my nickname when I was a kid was Meal Chan. I was Meal Amelia. It's a long story. Yeah. And Chan is like from anime. And I was one of those kids that liked anime and got my butt kicked for liking anime as a 12-year-old. But anyway, that's me on TikTok. My website with all my online classes is herbalremediesbyamelia.com. My farm website is Black Sun Farm CT, like Connecticut, .com. I'm on Facebook as Black Sun Farm CT. Instagram, I think it's just Black Sun Farm on Instagram. My logo is this little black tomato with sunshine rays coming out of it. So that if you see that, that's me. I'm the little black tomato sunshine. That's always that's been me. But the herbalremediesbyamelia.com is where you can go to get all of my online classes right now. So there's and blacksunfarmshop.com is my physical, like the teas and tinctures and things like that.
You have a lot of information out there, so they're going to find you all over the social media. You seem to, I can tell by the interview that you've overcome whatever may have been with inside you. You
Oh, yeah.
definitely are looking great. I like
Thank
the
you.
ideal of where you're going organically with the herbs and the educational tools for the people. Leave the viewers with something you've overcome. Leave the viewers with something that you live by every day.
Oh boy. Every day I always say everything is always working out for me, because no matter what happens in that day, even if it feels like a horrible day and everything went wrong, everything is working towards working out for me, for my goals. Even if I have a terrible, terrible day, I had this horrible experience with one person, that experience taught me a lesson somehow. I have learned from that experience. So even if it felt terrible while it was happening, everything's always working out for me in the end. So everything that's like the good positive way to think about it. And I will also tell you, if you have any kind of self-esteem issues, this is just a little bit of mental health PSA. When you wake up in the morning, when you get up to go to the bathroom, before you sit down to pee, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I am beautiful. Or if you're a man, you could say, I am handsome, whatever it is. I say, I am attractive physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually. And that is amazing. That's all you have to do. Doesn't cost you a thing. Say that to yourself. Look yourself in the eye. You're not going to believe it at first. It's going to take you a while to actually want to believe it, but you're planting that thought in your subconscious mind, and over time, you're finally going to start to believe it, and you're going to wake up one day and you're going to realize, I am beautiful. Wow, I feel great about myself. This is fantastic. You have programmed that into your being. So, yeah, that's a good way to live life. I do want to leave you guys. I made a coupon code for the people that listen to your show.
Okay.
For if you want to take it's Remedies from Nature. That's my online herbal medicine making course. I'm really, really proud of it. I put a lot into it. When you get the course, you have access for life. So anytime I update or add more information to the course, doesn't matter what you paid, you still have access to all that new information and all those new lessons. So the coupon code for your readers or listeners is Andre20. So ANDRE20. That gets you 20% off my Remedies from Nature course. So anybody listening, you're welcome to go and do that. And thank you. I hope I can teach you everything I know. You don't have to live in the same area I
Right.
live. Or making herbal medicine, the skills are the same no matter where you live. The plants might be different where you live, but the skills to make the remedies are the same no matter where you are.
I appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, make sure you reach out to Amelia South. Check out Black Sun Farms. I appreciate you coming onto the show, sharing that wealth of information. I like what you just said. There might be different plants in different regions, but we all have the capability to make these herbs to live a lot longer. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show.